Hi, welcome to another First Chapter Friday. I took Veterans Day off. I'm sorry if you were looking for something new yesterday, but one day late. Not bad, right? You should have been at a parade or something anyway. Anyhow, our topic, of course, today relates to military, and the book is Mac's Best Friend, Hero Marine, and it is about a dog. It is written by Jennifer Shotz, and it was turned into quite a popular movie. So I hope you enjoy this reading and that you continue beyond chapter 1. Chapter 1. The late afternoon sun poured in through Justin's bedroom window. A glare reflected off his computer screen, but he couldn't get up to pull down the blinds. He was right in the middle of a seriously epic battle against an entire military unit. And at the moment, he was winning. It was another hot summer day in Lufkin, Texas, which meant that it was another day Justin had spent almost entirely in his room. His best friend Chewy, who was practically his only friend, sat on Justin's bed and watched him play the video game. Chewy let out a couple of whoops and dudes as Justin took down soldier after soldier. As Justin finished the level, his computer's disk drive whirred and clicked. He was also burning a copy of the game for Chewy to give to his older cousin Emilio. Emilio had paid Justin cash for clean copies of the latest games, as long as they had no security codes or encryption. It wasn't like Justin was a computer genius or anything. He just figured out how to do it and how to sell them, which it turned out was a pretty decent way for a 14-year-old to make some extra money, and he didn't have to leave his room to do it. Chewy bounced on Justin's bed, impatiently waiting for the disc. "Seriously, man, what's taking so long?" Chewy asked from his perch on the edge of Justin's bed. "Just a couple of more minutes. Chill." Justin clicked away at the controller as a steady stream of soldiers fired away on screen. The virtual army let out a series of grunts and pumped their fists in the air and fell to the ground. Justin used to play this video game with his older brother Kyle. More accurately, Justin used to lose to Kyle on a regular basis. But now Kyle was a real soldier fighting in Afghanistan on the other side of the world. Sometimes Justin tried to picture Kyle as one of these guys, but it was just too weird. He couldn't imagine his brother shooting anyone. Chewy got up and began pacing the room. He ran a hand through his short curly hair and pulled up his sagging shorts. "Dude, I can't focus with you acting like a caged animal back there. Cut it out," Justin said. Chewy always had more energy than he knew what to do with. His best friend sat back down on the edge of the bed and bounced his knee up and down. Finally, the disk drive stopped spinning. "Here you go," Justin said, hitting eject and picking up the burned disk from the computer tray. "Clean master. No codes, no encryption. You can't rush perfection, Chewy." Chewy rolled his eyes and reached for the disk in Justin's outstretched hand. Yeah, I get it. You're like the ninja master," Chewy said. "You got that right." Justin gripped the disk tightly so that Chewy couldn't take it from him. "Tell Emilio I want an extra 200 for this one." Chewy's eyes widened as he said, What was that? 'Cause I know I didn't just hear you right." "He's selling the Assassin's Creed I ripped all the way up in Austin. I think he can afford a couple $100. Justin released the disc into Chewy's hand. "You don't want any beef with my cousin, man. Trust me," Chewy replied. Justin shrugged. 200 more, or this is the last one." He spun around in his desk chair to face his computer again. He waited for Chewy's comeback, but surprisingly, none came. From behind him, Justin heard the bed springs squeak as his friend quickly stood up. "Hello, Mr. Wincock," Chewy said in a stiff voice. With a start, Justin turned around to face his dad, Ray, who filled the doorframe. Even in his open-range storage jumpsuit, his dad still managed to look like a Marine. His posture was ramrod straight, his hair buzzed military short, his expression stern. "Hello, Chewy," said Justin's dad. Chewie shifted nervously from foot to foot. I was just leaving. Bye, Justin. See you around. Chewie shuffled toward the door. Justin's dad stepped aside, and Chewie slipped his skinny body by him like a guilty cat sneaking past a dog. Son? His father nodded. Hey, Dad. Justin started to turn back toward his computer. I need you to help me unload some stuff from the truck. I'll be there in a minute, Justin replied. Now, his dad said sternly. Justin sighed and pushed back his chair. His dad was always bossing him around. Maybe his brother Kyle was okay with doing whatever Dad asked, but Justin didn't need obedience training. Fine, Justin said, and followed his dad out of the room. On his way out, he noticed that Chewie had left the disc behind on his bed. He smiled to himself. Leave it to Chewie to be so freaked out by Justin's dad that he forgot what he had come here for. Emilio was pretty hardcore, possibly even in a gang, and he wasn't going to be happy when he learned that Chewie had misplaced his new game. His dad limped through the hallway and down the stairs, Justin following close behind. It never ceased to amaze him how fast his dad could move, especially with the leg injury that got him sent home from the first Gulf War. Justin and Kyle weren't even alive when that had happened, and they'd never known their dad without his limp. It was just something they'd grown up with, and it wasn't a big deal. But sometimes Justin felt as if the injury had only made Kyle worship their dad even more. Kyle had followed in their father's footsteps in a million ways. He worked hard, he did well in school, and now he was a Marine and a hero, just like their dad. Not Justin, though. It wasn't exactly on purpose, but he couldn't have been more opposite from either one of them. Although there was one thing Kyle had done differently from their dad. Justin's brother wasn't just a regular Marine. He was specially trained to work with a military working dog who was stationed with him in Afghanistan. Not only did their parents think Kyle was the perfect son, but they talked about his dog Max as though he was their third child. Justin felt like he had been one-upped by a canine. Justin followed his dad out of the house and into the backyard. The hot Texas air immediately enveloped them. What also surrounded Justin was his dad's temper. I was expecting to see you at work this morning, his dad said without looking at Justin, surveying the yard. So you could pay me $8 an hour sweeping your floors? Justin shook his head. No thanks. His dad stopped by the sliding patio doors that led into the living room. Justin's mom, Pamela, was inside vacuuming. She had just gotten home from her job at Walmart and still had her name tag pinned to her shirt. Justin watched her through the glass doors as he braced himself for his dad's response. I guess you'd rather I pay you to sit on your butt playing video games all day, his dad said. Justin clenched and unclenched his fists. He knew exactly where this conversation was going. Better than running some stupid storage place where people just keep the junk they should just throw away. His dad's whole body tensed. Justin took a step backward. Maybe he had pushed his dad too far, but he wasn't the perfect son. That role was already filled, and he wasn't about to be. That junk puts food in your smart mouth, son. His dad's eyes were lit up with anger. And I don't run it. I own it. Most folks are lucky for a chance to punch a time card, but not me. I'm my own boss. Maybe you are. Maybe you were even Kyle's boss, but you're not mine, Justin said. Justin could see his dad's jaw tightening and the muscles in his face twitching. I advise you to leave your brother out of this, his dad said coldly. At least he knows what it means to put in a hard day's work and to show some respect. Justin rolled his eyes. Yeah, and that hard work is doing us a lot of good halfway around the world. He's not even here to help out. Stop now, Justin. His dad took a step toward him, his eyes locked on his son's. Justin had definitely gone too far this time. He turned away and headed for the driveway, looking for where he had left his bike. He could ride to Chewy's house and spend the night there. Justin stepped onto the concrete and heard his dad's footsteps following closely behind. Justin spun around, so they were face to face. "What, Dad? Is this the part where you tell me again how Kyle is so perfect because he's a Marine just like you?" Justin asked. His dad's eyes practically bulged out of his head. "Justin, I swear!" Before his dad could finish the sentence, they both heard the sound of a car door slamming out front. They looked around the house and saw a black four-door sedan in their driveway. Two men in military uniforms headed for the walkway leading to their front door. "Dad!" Justin started to say, but his dad held up a hand to silence him. His body suddenly coiled like a spring. They watched the two men walk up the path and out of sight as they neared the front door. There was something in his dad's face that Justin had never seen before. Fear. His mouth was clamped tightly shut, and his forehead was wrinkled with worry. Soldiers at their door could only mean one thing. Kyle. What had happened to him? Had he been hurt? Justin felt queasy. "Stay here, Justin," his dad said in a raspy voice. His dad headed back across the yard. He stepped quickly through the sliding glass door and into the house just as the doorbell rang. He crossed the living room in a few purposeful strides, while Justin's mom opened the front door. Justin watched from the backyard as if it were a silent movie. His mom stepped back when she saw the men in uniform. His father caught her before she collapsed in shock. His father lowered his head, his body shaking. Then, finally, a single sound pierced the quiet. His mother's choked sob. That's when Justin knew for sure. His brother was dead. Kyle was dead. It is a very dramatic place to end, I know. Our main character, our military dog, Max, comes in directly into the next two chapters where we find out that Justin is not having a feeling of shame for behaving the way he had, but actually he's even more angered by his big brother's, the better son, the perfect son type of treatment, and how he's bitter about his brother leaving him. And yeah, stuff happens afterwards. Justin is not in a good place where we leave off and where the book really takes off, which is chapter 2 and on. So please check it out, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. If I see a lot of people liking this book, I'm going to look for some more very popular books that have dogs in it. And for all of you who have a veteran in your lives, please say thanks to them, and thanks for me. Take care.